moved to Ackworth when I was in the first grade.
First grade.
At 46. Daddy was working in Warner Robins for the Air Force Base during the Second World War. Mm-hmm. We settled here when he got out of that. Mm-hmm. And we lived in town here for about, 3 years. And then he bought a farm out on Rural Route 1, still Ackworth. Mm-hmm. So when I married, I moved back into town in Ackworth. Mm-hmm. Been here ever since.
My dad was in the military, and we traveled till 63, and then after he got out of the military, we lived in the community of Brookhaven, and then he bought almost an acre of land up here on the lake. And then in 70, while I was in Vietnam, they sold the place in Atlanta and moved up here full time. And from that time on, I was here.
It was a quiet little town, a nice place to live, very friendly, not a wealthy town, but yet a really nice place to live. I really liked it here. I'm glad I grew up here. I'm proud of it.
My fondest or most prevalent memory of Ackworth involved these folks and coming to town when the 4-Watt CB Club initiated. I think ironically, I'm a police officer, and I think the reason that it started is when the gas crisis came along and they lowered the speed limit on the interstates from 70 to 55. Mm-hmm. That the truck driver community needed a way to keep up with where the police were setting up and try to avoid speeding tickets. So that is really how it started. How the craze began to grow is that community of truck drivers. And as I mentioned, my dad was a truck driver, so from our perspective, it was always interesting to hear him talk on the radio, and he had one installed in his pickup truck as well. So I got interested in it, and the next thing you know, we had a base station in our house, and so you would find a lot of other families were starting to grab a hold of that idea, and the next thing you know, you had a lot of folks with Citizens Band radios.
I got into the CB radio early before the popularity phase, or whatever you call it. I worked for a company that had 24-hour record service, and we had two-way radio dispatched. And of course, I was familiar with a two-way radio, so I got the CB to go in my personal car. And I got a base station and set it up at the house. And then we got to know people, and everybody went by handles instead of names, so we didn't know who we was talking to. So there's 4 families decided to get together face to face in my basement. One of them I knew personally, and the other 2 we got to know then. Mm-hmm. And that very first night in the basement, they said, well, we need a club where we can get other CBers, to meet and so forth. So we wound up naming it that night. Right. I come up with a name because we wanted to, if we're going to have a club, be recognized by the FCC as a good club and everything. Mm-hmm. And that was the maximum wattage you could have on a Citizen Band radio, 4 watts.
Okay.
So we named it the 4-Watt CB Club. Mm-hmm. About the second meeting, we made officers, and none of us had been in a club, so we didn't know really what we was doing at that time. Mm-hmm. But it grew in a hurry. We was talking on the radio, we got a CB club, so we started meeting in this very building downstairs when it was a bank. And the first thing you know, we had 40 members, and then 100 members. KHK 3720, and my handle was Pumpkin.
Okay, well.
And you had to sign off the radio.
Yeah, every time you went on, you had to sign off with your call numbers and stuff.
Well, what was your name, Dallas?
Beer Buggy. Beer Buggy.
Beer Buggy.
I sold beer wholesale for Slits.
Okay.
And so somebody hung that name on me, and she was Pop Top.
Because the cans Pop Top at the time, somebody came up with that and gave it to me.
Okay. Y'all remember your call number?
KGP 2813.
Okay. You both had the same one?
Yeah.
It was a family.
Same
family,
call.
yeah.
Okay. Wayne, what was yours?
I knew it was coming.
No, no,
I was a chainsaw, KIN 2521.
Another thing about the Fort White CB Club, from the very beginning, I don't think all clubs is that way even to yet, but we made everything fun. If it's a fundraiser, we done it in a fun way and enjoyed it.
Yes.
And when we was out helping people, you know, we'd laugh and cutting up, and it was just a fun thing to be in. This club was one of the most fun things I've ever had in my life.
Anybody that needed help, that reached out to us, we would try some way to help them.
The fabulous parade that we had. We always participated in the parades.
We always
But-
built floats for the
And
parade.
yeah, we did. We built the floats. But there was one particular parade, and we're so honored that we had Johnnie on board with it. We had 6 of our gentlemen that, of course, they were beautiful in their own way, but we dressed them in women's bathing suits with combat boots and wigs, and sent them down Main Street,
And Johnnie was
Ackworth.
one of them?
And Johnnie was one of them.
I was young, a preteen, when I met these folks, and a lot of these families took me under their wing and, you know, showed a lot of love and support, and they demonstrated benevolence to me at that early age and influenced me in a way to want to give back and give back to a community.
And since the Fort White CB Club, that was our first experience in community giving. That's all we've done since we've been in the Fort White CB Club. We've continued on with other organizations and doing the same thing and believe in it very strongly.
When we joined it, we hadn't been married but 3 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We married in 71, 74. We joined the CB Club. And ever since then, we've been involved with some type of charity, sometimes 2 and 3 at one time.
But it was our beginning.
Yeah.
I think it's typical people, good people. It doesn't matter where they live. Just good people will do it, and they'll find a way to come together with other good people and create a good environment and great help.
Caring people.
Yeah, caring people.
Ackworth still has that community feel, and I think there are. I agree with what Ernestine said. It's I think it's inherent in people, but I think that can be lost, and I think Ackworth has done a good job of preserving that within this community. This community is absolutely something special.